Good morning, it's Kathy Champion and you're back with me in my craft room. Welcome in. Today we're going to work on a card that I have noticed that so many people are doing these slimline cards. I did one for my grandson because I'm sending off cards to my two grandsons who have birthdays. This is my older grandson, he's 14, but these are called slimline cards, and the reason for that, they are long and narrow, and they fit in a regular standard number 10 envelope. Let me grab one. I meant to grab it before I started recording, but I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and this is what I want to show you. A standard number 10 envelope. This is just a regular legal size envelope, and as you can see, a card, oops, grabbed my stamp and didn't mean to. A card like this will fit in an envelope like this perfectly. I think it's a great use for your envelopes like this. It gives you a lot of real estate on the front of your card to be able to do things, and I wanted to personalize the card because I think any kid likes to see their name, and I thought this was really nice with it being a big area there for his name. But anyway, he's into kind of muscle cars like most boys his age would be, so I thought that was a nice little take on a card for him. And like I said, it fits right in, and these cards seem to be all the rage right now, and they are called slimline. And I'm going to show you what I did. I did go ahead and cut my card base. I also stamped, cut, and colored quite a few of my little magnolias. And I did save one because I want to show you how I colored it. I have not stamped my leaves because I want to do several. And I have a die cut here. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it or not, but we'll see. Anyway, what I started off with is my card base, and I made some notes because this is going to be covered. This is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper of cardstock, and this is like a very vanilla. And what I did is I cut this down to 7.5 by 9 3/4, and I scored it at 3 3/4. So as you can see, 3 3/4 is my score. 7.5, and then 9 3/4. Oh, I'm sorry, 9 1/4. I wrote that down wrong. I'm glad I rechecked that. It's 9 1/4. See, it always pays to go back and double check yourself, because I would have told y'all wrong. You would have tried to make this card and said, that's not fitting. Alright, and I have this Magnolia paper, but I thought this was way too busy for what I was doing. Now, if I was just going to put a sentiment on here, this would be perfect, but I'm going to put Magnolia. So I love the other side of it, because look how gorgeous that is on that that very vanilla cardstock. I love that. So that gives a nice palette to be able to put our magnolias down on. So what I did is I stamped the smaller one in this Magnolia die set, and it's that one right there. And I colored most of these, and I did them some of them similar and some of them a little bit different, because I know for myself, I have a magnolia tree in my backyard, and when they blossom, the blossoms all look different. Some of them are kind of an off-white, some have a pinkish tint. So I thought with the pink, I grabbed my Stampin' Blends, and this one is the Petal Pink Light. And we're just going to go in and we're going to color all of our petals. So, and this is what I used on the vast majority of them. And you see how easy, I mean, the ink that comes out of these markers just is smooth as silk. And they color so beautifully. You know, no rocket science here, you're just putting down some color. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back with a darker color, and I'm going to use the lines that the artist put in the stamp set to give me where I want to put my like definition lines. So this was the light, so I'm going to grab the same color, the Petal Pink, in the dark. And you might say, well, that doesn't look too dark. And I'm going to use the little bullet tip for this. And I'm just going to go in and put down on those lines in that little place, that little pocket right there might be darker. Anywhere where you think that the color should be a little darker, just go in and put down that color. So then I'm going to go back with the light Petal Pink, and I'm just going to blend that in just a little bit. When you go back over it with the lighter color, I don't know, it just brings out all of the beautiful colors, and I think that right there looks fantastic. So I'm going to grab the green that I want to use. And I think for this one, I'm going to go with the Old Olive. So I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to go in first with my dark color. And I'm just going to draw the lines. Just like that. I'm going to go ahead and color in my stem. You could do this in a brown as well for your stem. Okay. Then I'm going to wait a few minutes. While that's drying, I'm going to go and find the color that I want to do those with. And I think I'm going to go with the Crumb Cake and the light. And I'm just going to put a little bit of color on those little pieces, because that's like where the blossom came out at. And these are the little pieces that kind of die off from there. And I think they look really good with that little bit of brown there. So now I'm going to grab the Old Olive in the lighter, and I'm just going to blend that out, and see how beautiful that looks. I'll tell you what, a good alcohol marker will change your life when it comes to you putting together your cards and making things look very polished and finished. Okay, so there is our Magnolias. So I want to get this little stamp right here. I'm going to go ahead and use the big stamp block. I don't think it really matters. And I am going to stamp the, well, you know what? I think I wanted to do the green because I want the tone on tone. No big deal. We'll grab our little cleaning mat. We'll clean this up. You can lay that card right there. And we'll get that black ink off of this one. And we did. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to use this. This is the Garden Green. And I'm just going to ink this up. And I'm going to stamp some leaves along here. I think that's plenty. And let's close up our ink pad. And now we can use this little stencil to cut these out, but I don't want to lose the integrity of the leaf. So I think what I might do is see what it looks like when I do it here. But I really like the way that leaf looks, so I think I'm going to fussy cut these. So I'm just going to grab my little paper snips, and I'm going to go in and just cut off one leaf and two leaves. I like to cut them off from the bigger paper. It just makes them easier for me to cut them out. So now all I'm going to do is just go just like this. And And like that. There's one leaf. And I think that's all I'm going to do right this minute. If we need more, we can always come back and cut some more of these out. So, let's go ahead and get our mat. Well, I tell you what, before we mat our card, let's go ahead and work our mat and see if we can get our pieces on. Let me grab some. Let's get some dimensionals. And I also want to use some liquid glue. So I'm going to take my top out of my glue and let's go ahead and decide where we're going to put our magnolias. And I think I want them over on this side. And I think what I want is I want one going down. I'm going to just kind of put them down where I think I want them. And the ones that I want overlapping, I want to glue the other one straight down. So I'll tell you what, let's do it like this. Let's go ahead and just glue this one flat down. And then let's go ahead and pop this one up. So let's see. I'm grabbing my take your pick tool so I can pick off the backers off of these pieces. And yes, you can do those with your finger, but it's easier. And usually I can keep them wrangled all together. Makes it easy. Now this one I want it to be up, so I'm putting it on dimensionals. And then this one I think I want to nest it right about here, and then we're going to do it straight down. So this is where our liquid glue comes in, so handy. Okay, and now this one I want it to go up, so on dimensionals. Seems like July is out in full force right now. It seems like that everybody's under heat advisories. Most everybody. I know the East Coast definitely is. It has been a bit grueling here with the heat. But it's July and I live in the South, so hey, what can you expect? Alright, I'm going to put one more, I think, right here. And I think I'm going to pop it up. Let's see if I can pick it up. I think maybe right about here. I think that's where I want this one, and I definitely want to pop it up. So let's grab some more of the dimensionals. Go ahead and pull off these backers. These don't wrinkle as good as the other ones do, but hey, I'm using what I got. Now that gives us a good little cluster of these magnolias, but I also want some leaves on here. So for these leaves, I'm just going to take a little dab of glue and put it right into that edge, and then I'm going to stick that right there. And I want these other ones to look like they're kind of blowing in the wind. And now we're going to do a sentiment over on this side. But before I do the sentiment, let me go and grab a couple of stamp sets, because I'm not real sure what I want this card to be just yet. But let me go take a look at my stamp sets, and then we'll come back and we'll finish this and get it together. These cards are very easy to make. Some people don't like to make them because you can only get one card out of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, but the same is true if you do 5 by 7s. You can only get one card. So the only time that I know you can get 2 or 3 is your A2 size cards and maybe your small 3 by 3s. And those you can usually get 3 out of an 8.5 by 11, and you can get 2 of the A2 size card. So hang tight and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I grabbed this stamp set called Strong and Beautiful. And I think the reason I grabbed this, when I think of a Magnolia, I think of strong and beautiful, but yet very delicate. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Magnolia trees. They are a huge, sturdy, very hardwood tree, and almost indestructible. But the blossoms that come out, usually the end of May, 1st of June, are huge. The blossoms are like that. And even though they feel strong, you can bruise those petals with just the barest of touches. And it reminds me of a woman, because so many times as women, because we take care of our families, we work our jobs, we rear our children, we take care of our husbands, we have so many jobs to do, and yet the Magnolia tree reminds me of the woman's spirit. We're strong, a lot stronger than we look, but yet our soul is very delicate, very gentle, and this Strong and Beautiful reminds me of that. And I love this. It says, "You are like a diamond, resilient, strong, and beautiful. I cherish you, my true friend. I know I can always count on you." You're amazing, and that's a fact. You have what it takes to be unstoppable, and I couldn't be more proud. To the woman who taught me what it means to be brave, you have truly been a shining example to me. You are loved completely. These sentiments are all just, absolutely stunning. And I do love the stamp set for that reason. So what I want to do is I want to put a label punch over here, and I think I want to do it out of that green, or maybe I want to do a die. I did grab the Stitch So Sweetly dies, and I do love these. Let's see, because what I would really love to do is do one in the dark green, and then one in the very vanilla. I might need another piece of that paper, or cardstock. Well, we all call it paper, but very little paper do I use. I like the sturdiness of cardstock, so that's usually what I reach for. I'm wondering if we could use, I'm trying to decide which one of these that I really want to put on the front of this, and I am thinking, this is how I usually check to see if my stamps will work inside of a die. I just sit it in it, and that will work. Let's see if we have enough of real estate. And we do. Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these two dies. I love these dies. I know I say things like that over and over, but I truly reach for these dies so many times. I'm checking to see, nope, and I don't. Let me grab a piece of I need a piece of the green. So I think this green would be beautiful on this card. So what I want to do is I want to cut this piece out of here. And then I want to get this piece out of this cardstock right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut me a small piece that will be Let's do 2.5. Alright, I have my pieces, so let's grab our die machine. I'm going to put this over here and that right there. And let's bring up our die machine. I'm going to go ahead and run these through. And for the record, y'all remember when I did the video on the die cuts? Well, I had some subscribers that left me messages and gave me some ideas of what I could do to fix that die that was so aggravating, this one. So I went and pulled it out of my trash bin. Yes, I had thrown it in my trash right here beside my desk. And y'all all know that your craft room trash is most of the time just paper. So I dug it out before my trash can got emptied. And I'm going to try a couple more things before I give up on it. My husband says I'm stubborn. I don't think so. I like to think that I'm tenacious. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and put this one on now and cut it. I love the way these layer up. I think they're so pretty, and they just give a nice effect on whatever you put them on. That up and cut all the way. Oh, come on. Oh, look at that. That did not want to cut right across there. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wiggle that back down in place, and you can feel it when it pops in. And we're going to run this through again. Just on that end. Good measure. Let's see if that got it. Yep, that did the trick. Beautiful. Alright, we got both of those cut, so let me put my little die machine back down here out of my way. And get all of this stuff pushed over to here. And now I want to stamp my sentiment. And I'm going to lay my stamp right there. And I'm going to grab my VersaFine, because I love this for my sentiments. So let's load this up on a stamp block. And I want to get this as nice and straight as I possibly can. So stamp, stamp, stamp. Check and make sure I've got a good, and that looks really good. See what I look for? I look for good coverage of ink. And now I am going to come down, hopefully right there in the middle. And just let it kiss that paper. Cardstock. And up. Oh, gorgeous. I love it. Alright, so what we're going to do now, let's bring this back over and this. And I am going to center this up right here. And I'm just going to use some glue for this because I'm going to pop this up. So I'm just going to use a little glue. Making sure I get around those edges. And then I'm looking over on this side because I want to line it up and down and drop. And remember, it's glue, so you got a little bit of wiggle room. That looks good. So I'm pressing it out so that glue will ooze all under it. And now I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to grab some more of my dimensionals. And I'm going to try to get these nice and even. Oops, that's not working. Let's go back in just a little bit. And let's do top. And then in the middle, I'm going to do top and bottom with that. I just like it to be nice and evenly distributed. That gives you a nice balance on your sentiments. These little pieces right here don't want to wrangle for me. These are some older dimensionals. They're not always the best, you know, the cheap ones. I mean, they stick, but they're not always the best ones for your money. Alright, we got those off. And now we're going to just drop this down on here. About like that. Is that beautiful? I love it. Alright, so now we're going to bring this over, and what we want to do now is adhere this to our card base. So the question is, do I want to use glue or snail? And I'm going to go with glue. And the reason for that is I've got dimensions on the front of this. It would be really hard to put run a snail on this. So, you know, think about that sometimes. If you feel like you need glue, let's turn this around the right way. I mean, if you feel like you need to use snail, you might want to work your card piece, your mat down first. But as a rule of thumb, I always build my mat and then put it on my card. And there is the front of our card, and I think it is gorgeous. So I'm going to open this up, and I need to decide what I want on the inside, and I would love to matte this in that green. So let me grab I don't have a piece that's long enough. So I'm just going to grab a piece, and we know we're going to need to cut it this way, and we know that it needs to be, I should have wrote those down. Not a problem. As long as we have a ruler, we can always find out. So I'm measuring that, and that's going to be 9 by 3 3/4. So 9 by 3 3/4. I am going to have to bring this over because I got to open my arm up. And we need to go to 9. And that gives us that mat. We're also going to need another one. I think that'll work. Let's go. Alright, this is 3 1/2, so let's go 3 1/4. And this should mat on here. just like so. That looks good. And what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and stamp this piece and put something very pretty in here. And I kept some of these magnolias because I thought I want to carry that theme into our card, and we have all this beautiful real estate, so why not? So let me grab a sentiment, and I want something simple. I want something and I'm not sure which one I want. Not this one. Where is my strong and beautiful? You are like a diamond, resilient, strong, and beautiful. You have what it takes to be unstoppable, and I couldn't be more proud. I like this one. You have truly been a shining example to me. Or I treasure you, I like that one. Isn't it funny how a lot of times we don't know which sentiment that's going to speak to us until we start putting a card together? And you know, sometimes it helps if we have an idea who we're sending the card to. And you know, when I make a card, a lot of times if I'm making it for an individual, it makes it so much easier because I know exactly what I want to say to that person. But sometimes if you're doing just a generic card, you don't always know what you want that card to say. And if you're making cards like that, what I would say do is find something generic for the outside, save the inside until you decide exactly who you're sending that card to. And that will help you quite a bit in finding the right sentiment. And my stamp, I think I left my stamp with the ink on it a little too long, and y'all know I don't do that. So I'm going to put a little bit of stamp cleaner on my pad, and let's see if we can get it clean. Yeah, not too bad. I can live with that. Alright, we're going to pick this one up and ink it up. And then I'm going to come right here in the center. Just like that. And then I'm going to glue this Magnolia right here. No dimensions on this because the reason I don't want to do dimensions is because I want the inside of my card to lay flat. And I don't think dimensions would make that happen. So let's just glue this flat down. And this one as well. I'll tell you what, I have really enjoyed making these slimline cards. They may be my next favorite card to make. So again, I'm going to use the liquid glue on here too, and I'm just going to swirl some around. Just like that. And let's, oops, upside down. It don't really matter, we could have turned it around, but I have this thing about wanting to make sure I get things straight and in the right orientation. I love that. I think it's so pretty. And now we're ready to drop this inside the card. And again, my art glitter glue. And let's put this down just like that. And there is our card. My first slimline card that I've made on camera, and I love it. Now with my envelope, and what did I do with it? Oh, I left my grandson's card in it. With my envelope, I think what I would do is maybe use a strip of this pattern paper and maybe stamp and color some magnolias. But remember, if you use your alcohol markers, take a piece of cardstock and stick in your envelope, or a piece of acetate or something, so that it does not bleed through onto your other side of your envelope. So just a reminder for that. But I think I do want to stamp something on the front of this. You know, it's so nice to decorate your envelopes. You could also slide a piece of the cardstock inside your envelope. For example, oops, you know what? I still have a magnolia. I didn't realize I had one. We could put this on the outside along with a strip of this. Or we could use this inside our envelope and decorate the inside. So many possibilities. So we could cut this down, and instead of having that blue to show, of course we do have this peel and stick right here, peel and seal, whatever you want to call it. That would be so pretty on the inside. The magnolia right here on the outside. That kind of gives a sort of a little bit of a testament to what the cardstock on the inside is going to be. We could also turn this over and do the inside with the magnolias like this. So many possibilities that you could do, but I'm not doing envelopes today. I probably will do this before I mail this card out, but I love the way this turned out. I think it's super neat. I think it's very clean, and yet it's elegant, and I love that. I think it turned out super cool. I hope you like it, and if you did, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment and tell me what you think of the slimline card, if you're a fan or not. If you are, I'll probably be doing more of these, and if you don't really care for them, then we'll go back to our little A2 size card. But I think this is different, and every now and then we like something a little different. At least I do. Thank you so much for tuning in today and watching, and I hope and pray that you have a very blessed day, and keep your eyes on Jesus. He is the way, the truth, and the life, and remember that no one can see God except through Jesus. So to know the Father, you have to know the Son, and until we craft again, always let everything you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven, because He is worthy of our praise, our honor, and our life. And I love you all so much. So see you soon. Bye-bye.